Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm ranking my personal favourite dragon and rider pairing from across House of Dragon and Game of Thrones. This list is based mostly on my opinion, so it's not really about who's the strongest dragon or best fighter, it's more about which dragon and rider pairings I personally enjoyed the most throughout both series. For this ranking, I'll mainly be focusing on the 12 dragon and rider pairings that we've spent the most time with or seen the most throughout House of Dragon and Game of Thrones, ahead of the Series 3 of House of Dragon. There's still some great dragons outside the main rankings though, so I'll also be giving a few honourable mentions later as well. If your favourites are ranked differently, definitely let me know your own ranking in the comments, because honestly, there are so many amazing dragons that everyone's list is going to look completely different. Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the House of Dragon or Game of Thrones. So without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Starting off at number 12, we've got Arax and Lucerys Velaryon. This pairing is honestly carried by how emotional and tense their final scene is together. Arax is clearly outmatched by Vhagar, but the dragon still tries to protect Luke, even when facing impossible odds. What I really liked about this moment is how uncontrollable dragons actually feel. Luke doesn't fully have control of the situation. Arax reacts out of fear, and everything spirals into disaster from there. It's one of the most important moments in the House of Dragon, because it completely changes the course of the war. And coming in at number 11 is Moondancer and Baelor Targaryen. Even though we haven't seen loads from them yet, I already like this pairing. Moondancer stands out because of how fast and agile the dragon is compared to some of the larger dragons in the dance. What I enjoy the most is how well the dragon matches Baelor's personality. Both feel fearless, energetic and aggressive, which makes them a really exciting duo whenever they appear. At number 10 we've got Seasmoke and Laenor Velaryon. I've always liked the bond between these two, because it feels natural and genuine. Laenor clearly loves being a dragon rider, and Seasmoke becomes a huge part of his identity throughout the early parts of House of Dragon. While they don't get loads of huge battle moments together, I still think their scenes stood out because of how comfortable and connected they felt whenever they were on screen together.
Council uncle, other than Master of Complaints.
Enough, Laenor.
If King's Landing will not support Daemon, why should any of us?
Number 9 goes to Vermax and Jacaerys Valerion. The pairing just feels reliable and balanced to me. Jace grows into one of the more responsible and capable members of Rhaenyra's side, and Vermax reflects the same energy. While they might not have the same intimidating factor as some of the other dragons higher up, I still really enjoy their scenes because the partnership feels mature and dependable. Jace feels like someone genuinely trying to live up to the responsibility placed on him, and I think Vermax fits the role perfectly.
You must hold mastery over your dragon, my
I
young princess,
I got Vespers on me.
as Prince Aegon has with Sunfire.
Si aute tirios letus riva loving tilza.
Once they're fully bound to you, they will refuse to take instruction from any other.
Can I say it? Dracarys Vermax.
Coming in at number 8 is Sunfire and Aegon II Targaryen. Sunfire is probably my favourite looking dragon in the entire franchise. The gold scales, design, everything about him just looks incredible. But what really pushes their pairing higher for me is how brutal and tragic their journey becomes during the dance. Both Aegon and Sunfire go through horrific injuries and somehow keep surviving. There's something weirdly compelling about how broken and damaged both of them become while still refusing to fully give up. Their bond honestly feels stronger the more suffering they go through together.
You! Hold to your courage! Hold to your wits! For the Seven have blessed and shielded this host with divine purpose! For the one true king, Aegon! Advance!
Where are you, Aemond?
Angos, Merlis! Dracarys!
Number 7 goes to Rhaegal alongside Daenerys Targaryen and Jon Snow. I've always had a soft spot for Rhaegal because this dragon feels emotionally important in a completely different way compared to Drogon. I really like how Rhaegal eventually becomes connected to Jon as well, especially once the Targaryen reveal happens. It makes the dragon feel symbolic through that shared heritage and bond between the two characters. Even though Drogon gets more focus overall, Rhaegal still has some incredible moments and honestly feels like the heart of Daenerys' dragons at times. Before we get into the top 6, here are a few honourable mentions that just missed out on the main ranking. They have either not appeared in the series yet or haven't had enough screen time yet. Dreamfire and Helena Targaryen. This is one of the most interesting dragon and rider pairings in the Targaryen history, but we've barely had a chance to properly see them together in the series so far. Sheepstealer and Lady Rhaenyra Targaryen. We only briefly see Sheepstealer at the end of Series 2 where Rhaenyra finds him, and in the books the dragon is actually bonded to Nettles instead, who does not appear in the series. So it'll be really interesting to see what direction the series takes moving forward. Morning and Lady Rhaenyra Targaryen. Morning is one of the dragons I really wanted to mention because the pairing symbolises hope after the dance in the books. But since Morning hasn't appeared in the series yet and may never be included, I couldn't place them in the main ranking. Stormcloud and baby Aegon. Stormcloud and loyalty during Aegon's escape. Stormcloud and Aegon's story in the future makes this one surprisingly emotional in the story. But in the series, Stormcloud is still only a hatchling, so we haven't really had the chance to see enough from the dragon yet, compared to the others on the list. Tessarion and Daeron Targaryen. Tessarion's blue flames alone makes this dragon stand out visually. We finally see Tessarion and Daeron briefly at the end of Series 2, flying above the High Tower army as they march to war, so I'm really excited to see more of them in Series 3. Cannibal and Grey Ghost. I absolutely love the mystery around these wild dragons, especially Cannibal, because every story about him makes him sound terrifying. But since neither dragon has properly appeared in the series yet, I decided to leave them outside the main ranking for now. The series' second, Unhatched Dragon. This is more of a small lore mention, but I still wanted to include it, because it represents the later decline of dragons within House Targaryen history. Tyraxes and Joffrey Valerion. They don't get a huge amount of focus, but I still think the pairing deserves a recognition because of how tragic and emotional their story becomes later on. Seasmoke and Adam of Hull. I really like the underdog feel behind their pairing, but they've only just bonded at the end of Series 2. Vermithor and Hugh Hammer. Vermithor already feels legendary before Hugh even claims him, and I am really interested to see more of their story play out in future series. Silverwing and Ulf the White. Silverwing eventually becomes bonded to Ulf. It's one of the more interesting Dragon Sea storylines, but we still haven't seen enough of the pairing yet for me to rank them properly. At number 6 we've got Viserion alongside Daenerys Targaryen and later the Night King. Viserion always felt like the calmest and most elegant of Daenerys' dragons before everything changed beyond the wall. What makes the dragon stand out so much is honestly the tragic surrounding him. Seeing Viserion transformed into an undead dragon completely changed the tone of Game of Thrones. It gives us one of the most shocking moments in the entire series. Visually alone, the blue flames and icy design makes him unforgettable. In at number 5, Syrax and Rhaenyra Targaryen. I personally really like what this pairing represents throughout the series. Syrax isn't necessarily the fiercest dragon in battle, but the connection between Rhaenyra and her dragon feels very personal and symbolic. A lot of Rhaenyra's identity as the rightful heir is tied directly to her image as a dragon rider, and Syrax becomes part of that presence. Their scenes together feel regal and emotional, more than destructive, which honestly makes them stand out compared to the more war-focused pairings.
Aras! Silence!
Umbas. Rivas.
Welcome back, Princess. I trust your ride was pleasant.
Try not to look too relieved, sir.
I am relieved. Every time that golden beast brings you back unspoiled, saves my head from a spike.
Number 4 goes to Maelys Rhaenyra Targaryen. I've always loved how noble this pairing feels. Maelys is incredibly powerful, but also extremely fast and experienced, while Rhaenys carried herself with calmness and intelligence compared to some of the reckless riders in the Downs. What really pushes them this high for me is their final stand. Even knowing the odds are against them, they still went into battle and almost changed the course of the war entirely. That moment alone makes this one of the most memorable dragon pairings in the franchise.
Open the doors! Open the doors!
Get something.
Coming in at number 3 is Vhagar and Aemon Targaryen. Honestly, every scene with these two feels intimidating. Vhagar already has the legendary status before Aemon even claims her, but once he becomes her rider, the pairing becomes genuinely terrifying. What I really like is how Aemon completely embraces the power and fear that comes with controlling the biggest dragon alive. Together, they feel almost unstoppable at times. The size difference alone, whenever Vhagar appears next to other dragons, instantly changes the tension of every scene.
Sobes! Dohairas, Vega! Sobes!
Runner-up is Caraxes and Daemon Targaryen. This pairing is just chaos in the best possible way. Caraxes looks terrifying, sounds terrifying, and fights like an absolute monster, and Daemon somehow matches that exact same energy perfectly. What I love most here is how connected they feel, personality-wise. Caraxes doesn't feel like just a mount for Daemon, the dragon genuinely feels like an extension of him. Every time they appear together, the atmosphere completely changes because you instantly know something violent is probably about to happen.
Where are you? Come out and face me, Dreya! Come out, Dreya! Where are you? I'm gonna feed you to your own crabs! Where are you?
And finally, my number 1 pick is Drogon Daenerys Targaryen. Honestly, I don't think any other dragon and rider pairing was going to take this spot for me. Every major Drogon moment throughout Game of Thrones feels iconic. From Daenerys first riding him, to the attack on the Lannister army, to the destruction of King's Landing, the pairing completely dominates the series whenever they appear together. What I love most is how Drogon grows alongside Daenerys throughout the story as she becomes more powerful, feared and ruthless. Drogon changes her, their bond feels stronger and more personal than any other pairing in this franchise. And that's why they easily take my number 1 spot. So that is my ranking of my favourite dragon and rider pairings from House of Dragon and Game of Thrones. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my ranking, and definitely tell me what your own top 5 would look like, because I'd genuinely be interested to see how different everyone's lists are. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more House of Dragon, Game of Thrones or similar videos in the future, and I'll see ya in the next one.
Archers! Archers, work me! Yes, to the line!